In life, you will meet people who will test your patience, challenge your limits, and sometimes make you doubt yourself. They may be colleagues, friends, family members, or even strangers. But here's the truth: difficult people are not obstacles, they are opportunities. Opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more focused. The way you handle them defines the quality of your life. Let me share the secret to handling difficult people in a way that turns frustration into personal power. Accept that difficult people are part of life. When we talk about success, happiness, or peace of mind, most people immediately think about hard work, talent, and opportunity. They believe that if they just work hard enough, life will eventually become easy and people around them will be cooperative, supportive, and kind. But let me tell you a truth that many people learn the hard way. No matter how smart you are, no matter how kind you try to be, and no matter how much success you achieve, you will always meet people who will challenge your patience, misunderstand you, criticize you unfairly, or even try to bring you down. Difficult people are not an accident. They are part of life, as natural as the sun rising every morning. Think about a life as like a big marketplace. You will meet all kinds of personalities, some encouraging, some indifferent, and some extremely difficult to deal with. Some will appreciate you, while others will misunderstand your intentions. Some will smile at your success, while others will feel threatened by it. That's just how the world works. The mistake we make is believing that if we try hard enough, we can live in a world where everyone treats us exactly the way we want. That day will never come. The sooner you accept this truth, the stronger you will become emotionally. Imagine this: you're walking through a busy street filled with people from different walks of life. Some are polite, some are rude, some are lost in their own world, and some are shouting at the top of their lungs. Now, would you stop walking every time someone bumps into you or says something unpleasant? Of course not. If you did, you would never reach your destination. Life works the same way. Difficult people will bump into your peace, throw words that sting, and sometimes create unnecessary drama. But if you stop to argue with every single one of them, you will lose precious time, energy, and focus. Here's the reality: difficult people are like the wind in a storm. You can't control which way the wind blows, but you can adjust your sails. You can't control their words, attitudes, or behavior, but you can control how much power you give them over your emotions. And this starts with acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you agree with their negativity. It doesn't mean you tolerate bad behavior. It simply means you stop wasting energy wishing they were different, and instead focus on how you can rise above their behavior. I have seen so many talented people lose their peace of mind because they constantly ask, why is he like this? Why can't she understand me? Why are they always so negative? My friend, there is no why. Some people are just wired differently. Some are battling their own insecurities. Some are carrying anger from things that have nothing to do with you. And some simply enjoy being difficult because that's the only way they feel powerful. If you keep waiting for them to change before you find your peace, you will wait forever. Acceptance gives you freedom. It gives you the freedom to stop being surprised every time someone behaves badly. It gives you the power to say, I knew this would happen, but I won't let it shake me. When you expect the world to be perfect, every act of rudeness feels like a personal attack. But when you accept that difficult people are part of the journey, you stop taking their behavior personally. You understand that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. And that understanding makes you emotionally unshakable. Control your emotions, not theirs. One of the greatest mistakes people make when dealing with difficult people is believing that if they can just say the right words, explain themselves clearly enough, or prove their point strongly enough, the other person will change. They think, if only I can make them understand, they will stop being so negative, they will stop being so difficult. But here's the hard truth: you cannot control another person's attitude, opinions, or behavior. No matter how reasonable, logical, or kind you are, some people will simply refuse to see things your way. They will argue for the sake of arguing, criticize without understanding, and twist your words just to create drama. And if you spend all your energy trying to control how they think or act, you will end up frustrated, angry, and emotionally drained. The secret is this: stop trying to control them and start controlling yourself. Because the only thing you truly have power over in this life is your own response. You cannot choose how others treat you, but you can always choose how you react. That choice is your real strength. That choice is what separates people who stay calm under pressure from those who break down the moment someone provokes them. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are standing in front of a mirror. If you make a sad face, the reflection looks sad. If you smile, the reflection smiles back. The mirror has no choice, it only reflects you. Now, many people live like that mirror. They simply reflect whatever emotion someone else throws at them. If someone yells, they yell back. If someone insults them, they insult back. If someone is negative, they become negative too. But here's the problem. When you let your emotions be controlled by other people, you give them power over your peace of mind. You allow them to decide whether you feel angry or calm, frustrated or happy. That is too much power to give away. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean you ignore bad behavior. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you stay calm enough to choose your response wisely instead of reacting blindly. Because here's the thing, when someone is being difficult, they often want you to lose your cool. They want to see you angry, shouting, or hurt because that gives them a sense of victory. But the moment you stay calm, the moment you refuse to be dragged into their chaos, you win without even fighting. Think about the last time someone provoked you. Maybe it was a colleague who criticized your work unfairly. Maybe it was a relative who always finds fault in everything you do. Or maybe it was a stranger on the road who shouted at you for no reason. In that moment, what felt worse? Their words or the storm of emotions that followed inside you? Most times, it is our reaction that hurts us more than the situation itself. The anger, the replaying of the argument in your head, the frustration that lingers long after the moment has passed. This is what truly steals your peace. But when you control your emotions, you take back your power. You stop being a puppet dancing on someone else's strings. You become like a solid rock in the middle of a raging river. Water crashes against you, but you stay unmoved. People may talk, argue, or criticize, but you remain calm, composed, and focused. And let me tell you, nothing confuses a difficult person more than someone who refuses to be provoked. Learn to listen before responding. One of the biggest reasons conflicts with difficult people get worse is because we respond too quickly. We hear a harsh word, a wrong assumption, or a criticism that feels unfair, and before the other person even finishes speaking, we are already preparing our reply. Sometimes we are not even listening. We are just waiting for our turn to defend ourselves. And in that rush to reply, we miss the most important skill in dealing with difficult people, the ability to truly listen before responding. Listening is not the same as staying silent. Many people stay quiet only because they are thinking about what they want to say next. Real listening means focusing completely on the other person's words, tone, and emotions. It means not interrupting. It means resisting the urge to correct them instantly or to prove them wrong. When you listen deeply, you do something that most people in this world rarely experience. You make the other person feel heard. And sometimes that is all they really want. Think about the times you were upset or angry about something. Maybe it was at work when someone ignored your ideas. Maybe it was at home when someone didn't understand how tired you were. In that moment, did you want advice? Or did you just want someone to hear you out? Most of the time, people want to feel that their emotions, even if they are messy or exaggerated, are at least acknowledged. When you give them that respect, when you let them speak without jumping in, you take away a lot of the heat from the argument even before it begins. But here's what usually happens. Instead, someone says something unfair or rude, and we immediately feel attacked. Our heart beats faster, our tone rises, and we respond without thinking. That is how small disagreements turn into big fights. Because when two people both want to be heard, but neither is listening, the conversation becomes a battle of egos rather than a search for understanding. Learning to listen before responding doesn't mean you agree with everything the other person says. It doesn't mean you let them dominate the conversation or accept their negativity. It simply means you are gathering all the information, letting them release their emotions, and choosing the right moment to respond calmly and clearly. When you listen first, you gain clarity. You understand not only their words, but also their feelings, fears, and frustrations. And once you understand, your response becomes wiser, calmer, and more effective. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone at work accuses you of not doing your part in a project. Your first instinct might be to jump in and say, "That's not true. I worked harder than anyone else. But if you interrupt and defend yourself immediately, the other person will only get louder because they feel ignored. Instead, if you let them finish speaking, if you nod and listen, you might realize they are not angry at you personally. They are just stressed because of a deadline or a misunderstanding. By listening first, you find the real issue instead of fighting about the wrong one. Listening also protects your emotions. When you respond too quickly, you respond from a place of anger or hurt. But when you pause and listen fully, you give yourself time to process your feelings and choose words that build bridges rather than walls. That simple pause, the space between hearing and speaking, is where wisdom lives. It is where you stop reacting and start responding with intention. Separate the person from the problem. One of the main reasons conflicts with difficult people escalate into emotional battles is because we mix the person with the problem. When someone says something harsh or unfair, we immediately take it as a personal attack. We think, he doesn't respect me, or she's always against me. And slowly, the focus shifts from solving the issue to fighting the person. Instead of addressing the real problem, it becomes about defending our ego, proving them wrong, or getting even. That's when conversations break down, relationships get damaged, and both sides walk away angry rather than moving toward a solution. But here's the truth. Most conflicts are about specific situations, not about your entire worth as a person. Maybe a colleague complains about a mistake at work. That doesn't mean they hate you. Maybe a friend criticizes a decision you made. That doesn't mean they don't care about you. Yet we often interpret their words as an attack on our character, rather than a reaction to the situation. This is where everything begins to spiral out of control, because once emotions take over, logic takes a back seat. Separating the person from the problem means learning to focus on the real issue without getting lost in emotional reactions. It means recognizing that people behave the way they do for countless reasons: stress, insecurity, past experiences, or simple misunderstanding. Their tone might be harsh, their words might be unfair, but if you keep focusing on why they are like this instead of what actually needs to be solved, you will get stuck in endless conflict rather than finding clarity. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people arguing about a late project. One says, "You're always careless." The other replies, "Well, you never support me anyway." At this point, the conversation has stopped being about the project. Now it's about character attacks, old resentments, and ego battles. But if one person stays calm and says, "Let's focus on why the project was delayed and what we can do to fix it," suddenly the heat begins to cool. Why? Because the attention has shifted back to the problem instead of attacking each other personally. When you separate the person from the problem, you also give yourself emotional space. You stop taking everything as an insult or betrayal. You begin to see that most people act out because of circumstances, stress, or fear rather than because they want to hurt you personally. A colleague might be rude because they are under pressure from their boss. A friend might snap at you because they are dealing with their own struggles. When you understand this, you stop fighting the person and start addressing the real cause of the tension. It also allows you to stay in control of your emotions. The moment you make it personal, your ego takes over. You feel the need to defend yourself, to win the argument, to make the other person admit they were wrong. But when you focus on the problem instead, you approach the situation with logic, calmness, and the desire to find a solution rather than to prove a point. This mindset doesn't just make conflicts easier to handle, it saves relationships. Because at the end of the day, people remember how you made them feel. If every disagreement turns into a personal war, trust disappears quickly. But when you make it clear that you respect the person while discussing the problem firmly, you keep the door open for understanding, cooperation, and even long-term growth. Don't let negativity infect you. One of the hardest things in life is staying positive. When you are surrounded by people who seem to carry a storm cloud with them everywhere they go, you know the kind of people I am talking about. The ones who complain about everything, criticize everyone, and always see the dark side of every situation. They walk into a room full of sunshine and somehow manage to find a shadow. And if you are not careful, their negativity will slowly creep into your mind like a slow, moving poison until you start thinking, feeling, and speaking just like them. This is why it is so important to guard your mind and heart when dealing with difficult people. Negativity is contagious. It spreads from one person to another the way fire spreads through dry grass. One cynical remark can ruin an entire day. One constant complainer can bring down the energy of a whole team. If you let their words replay in your mind, if you keep carrying their anger in your heart, you will slowly start to see the world through their eyes, and that is a heavy, dark way to live. Think about it. Maybe you wake up feeling good, ready to start the day with energy and optimism. Then someone says something critical or unfair to you, and suddenly the whole day feels ruined. It's almost as if they handed you a bag of their negativity, and without realizing it, you agreed to carry it on your shoulders. By the time you get home, you are tired, angry, and frustrated, not because of your own life, but because you carried someone else's emotional baggage all day. But here's the truth, you don't have to carry it. You can choose not to let their negativity become your reality. The fact that someone speaks in anger doesn't mean you have to respond in anger. The fact that someone sees only problems doesn't mean you have to stop seeing opportunities. Their darkness doesn't have to dim your light unless you allow it. I once heard someone say, you can't stop the birds from flying over your head, but you can stop them from building a nest in your hair. That's exactly how negativity works. People can say what they want, do what they want, and act how they want. That part is beyond your control. But whether their words take root in your heart or slide off like rain on a roof, that part is up to you. The key is emotional boundaries. You have to learn to say, this is your anger, not mine. This is your criticism, not my truth. This is your drama, not my life. When you separate your emotions from theirs, you protect your peace of mind like a soldier guarding a fortress. You stop letting every negative comment echo in your head. You stop letting every rude tone decide your mood. Because here's the danger, negativity is not just an emotion. It's a mindset. The more you listen to it, the more you believe it. And before you know it, you start complaining like them, doubting like them, and giving up like them. But when you protect your mental space, you stay free. You stay strong. You stay focused on what really matters instead of being dragged into endless cycles of anger and frustration created by people who refuse to see the good in anything. See difficult people as teachers. Most people look at difficult people as problems to avoid, obstacles to overcome, or reasons for stress. But what if I told you that the very people who frustrate you the most are often your greatest teachers? Not because they teach you through kindness or wisdom, but because they challenge you in ways that force you to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You see, life has a very interesting way of shaping us. It rarely uses comfort and ease to build strength. It doesn't use applause and agreement to build character. Instead, it uses challenges, pressure, and yes, even difficult people. The colleague who constantly criticizes you might be teaching you how to stay calm under pressure. The friend who never appreciates your efforts might be teaching you to find confidence within yourself rather than seeking validation from others. The relative who always argues might be teaching you patience and self-control. Think about it this way: if everyone you met was kind, supportive, and agreeable all the time, would you really learn emotional strength? Would you ever learn to stay calm when things don't go your way? Would you develop the patience to listen, the wisdom to respond thoughtfully, or the courage to stand your ground without losing your temper? Probably not. It is the friction in life that sharpens us, the same way sandpaper smooths rough wood or fire strengthens metal. I remember hearing someone say, "Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor." That line stayed with me because it's true for every part of life. If the sea is always calm, you will never learn how to navigate storms. Likewise, if people around you are always easy to deal with, you will never develop the skills to handle real conflict, real criticism, or real challenges in the future. Difficult people are like storms. They are uncomfortable, unpredictable, and sometimes exhausting, but they teach you lessons calm waters never could. When you start seeing difficult people as teachers rather than enemies, something amazing happens. You stop taking everything so personally. Instead of asking, why are they like this? You start asking, what can I learn from this? Maybe the lesson is patience. Maybe it is learning how to stand firm without becoming angry. Maybe it is realizing that not everyone's opinion about you matters. Whatever the lesson is, it will make you stronger if you are willing to learn. This shift in perspective also keeps you from becoming bitter. When you only see difficult people as obstacles, you carry resentment toward them. You replay arguments in your mind. You waste energy wishing they would change. But when you see them as teachers, you no longer need to fight them emotionally. Instead, you use the situation to build yourself. You tell yourself, this is preparing me for bigger things. This is training me to stay calm in chaos, to focus on solutions, and to keep my peace even when the world around me is noisy. And here is the most powerful part. Some of the greatest leaders, thinkers, and innovators in history became who they were because they faced resistance, criticism, and rejection from people who didn't believe in them. Those difficult people unknowingly shaped them into individuals with incredible strength and determination. So instead of wasting your energy hating difficult people, start learning from them. Let them teach you emotional discipline. Let them teach you focus. Let them teach you to rise above negativity, to stay steady when others lose control, and to believe in yourself even when no one else does. Keep your focus on growth. One of the biggest traps when dealing with difficult people is allowing them to steal your focus. It starts small, an argument here, a rude comment there, a piece of gossip that finds its way to you, and before you know it, you've spent half the day thinking about what they said, replaying it in your mind, coming up with what you should have said, and letting it eat away at your energy. What was supposed to be a small moment becomes a heavy distraction that follows you like a shadow. That is exactly what happens when you allow difficult people to pull you into their world. Instead of focusing on your dreams, your goals, and the future you want to create, you waste your time and emotions reacting to someone else's negativity. This is why keeping your focus on growth is so important. You have to remember that your life is bigger than any single person's opinion of you. Your future is more important than winning a single argument. The energy you spend defending yourself, proving someone wrong, or trying to control what others think about you is energy you could have spent building your skills, improving your life, and moving closer to your dreams. Let me tell you something powerful. Success doesn't come to those who fight every battle. It comes to those who choose their battles wisely and keep their eyes on the bigger picture. When you focus on growth, you learn to ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Will this argument help me become better? Will this person's opinion build my future? If the answer is no, you simply refuse to give it more space in your mind. Think about the people you admire, the ones who achieve great things despite criticism, rejection, or resistance. Do you think they never faced difficult people? Of course they did. But the difference is they refused to let those people stop them. While others were busy gossiping, they were busy learning. While others were arguing, they were planning. While others were trying to bring them down, they were focused on climbing higher. Keeping your focus on growth also means turning pain into power. Maybe someone criticized you harshly. Use that as motivation to improve your skills. Maybe someone doubted you. Use that as fuel to work harder and prove to yourself, not to them, what you are capable of. Maybe someone tried to discourage you. Use that as a reminder that your dreams belong to you, not to anyone else. Here's the truth. People who try to hold you back are usually stuck themselves. They live in negativity because they have stopped growing. So they want everyone around them to stay at the same level. But you don't have to stay there with them. You can choose to rise higher. You can choose to keep learning, keep improving, keep moving forward, no matter what anyone says or does. When you keep your focus on growth, you also stop seeking approval from people who don't understand your journey. Not everyone will see your vision. Not everyone will clap for you. And that's okay. Your job is not to convince them. It's to keep growing until your results speak for themselves. Growth turns criticism into background noise. It turns rejection into redirection. It turns every difficult person into just another stepping stone on your way to becoming stronger, wiser, and more successful. So here we are. We have faced the reality that difficult people are a part of life. We have learned to control our emotions rather than letting theirs control us. We have discovered the power of listening before speaking. We have separated the person from the problem to protect our peace. We have built walls against negativity so it cannot infect our minds. We have learned to see every difficult person as a teacher in disguise. And finally, we have committed to keeping our focus on growth rather than on petty conflicts or meaningless distractions. The truth is, this life will always give you two choices. You can let difficult people drain your energy, waste your time, and hold you back. Or you can let them shape you into someone stronger, calmer, and wiser. The people who rise in life are not the ones who face no opposition. They are the ones who learn how to stay steady in the middle of the storm. Every criticism can either break you or build you. Every rude comment can either throw you off track or teach you patience. Every difficult person you meet can either make you bitter or make you better. The choice will always be yours. So the next time someone tests your patience, remember everything you've learned. Smile, stay calm, listen fully, focus on the real issue, protect your peace, learn the lesson, and then keep moving forward with your eyes firmly set on your goals. Because at the end of the day, your growth, your peace, and your future are far too valuable to be controlled by someone else's negativity.